it's Emily from Emmy B Designs, and today I wanted to talk to you all about my top tips for starting to sew. So, obviously my biggest thing, the thing I love to do the most is obviously teach people to sew. But for me, there's another part of that. It's just more than just teaching people to sew, because, you're not necessarily inspired. I can teach you something, but you might not necessarily be inspired by that. Kids go to school, they might not necessarily be inspired by the lessons they're having. So to me, they go hand in hand, and you have to have both. You need to be taught and be inspired in order, to make a go at whatever it is you're wanting to learn, whether it's learning to sew, wanting to play the piano, which is something, fun fact, that I would love to learn to do. That is definitely on my bucket list. So I just wanted to talk to you about some top tips, not obviously in terms of do this when you're sewing, but more just kind of words of advice for if it's something you're considering doing, but you're just a bit on the fence, basically. And just my advice if you are new to sewing, or even maybe you've been sewing for a while, some of these tips might apply to you. So I've wrote myself some little notes just in case I forget. But tip number one is all about your sewing machine. So obviously, as you can see, this is my sewing machine behind me. By no means do you have to have a machine like this. This is all singing, all dancing, but please bear in mind I have been sewing for a long time. And obviously I sew every day pretty much. It's my job, it's my living. But what I also don't recommend is going out there and buying an absolute basic machine. So there's pros and cons to this in terms of buying the basic models. So you can get really basic model machines out there. So I will show you an example. So for example, this is a basic Janome model machine. It is the 217S. I'm not sure whether you can get this exact one, but you can get the whatever is the equivalent to that now. This is a very, very basic machine. So it's got about 6 stitches on there. Don't get me wrong, lovely little machine, but it has got its limitations. So for example, if you were to go out and buy this might set you back anything between £100 and £150, depending on where you get it from, maybe a little bit less than that if you bought it second hand. But if you then love sewing, you might find that you outgrow it, you want something else. Sorry, something just fell over there. Yeah, you might outgrow it and you want something else, and then you want to buy another machine, to which then you might be paying, you might get something that's a bit more, the £300 mark, but then obviously when you've done, you might have spent £450. Now, I'm not saying you should go straight in and buy an expensive machine, but my advice would be buy something a bit more middle ground. Just sort of think what it is you're hoping to achieve from your sewing. And again, it all depends, circumstances. Yeah, so if you're literally just wanting a machine to do alterations, perfect. But if you're hoping to be able to start making your own clothes, and you've been to some classes, for example, where you've used the machines there, and you like sewing, go for something a little bit more that you're going to grow with. That is my point there. Like these, for example, when I first started teaching, well, not when I first started teaching, when I first set up my own business and my own sewing school, these were the machines that I bought. And I'll be honest, even then the people that then were coming to classes grew out of them. So then I kind of went for something a bit more, not as basic, had a bit more on them, just because again, but yet they were still beginner friendly. So if you ever need advice on picking a machine, honestly, you can comment below, let me know that you're looking for help with a machine, let me know your budget, and I will give you my options. I've done this for a long time with people. They've just let me know the budget, what they're wanting to open to make, and I've sent them suggestions. And I'm honestly happy to do that. So yeah, tip number 1, really think about the machine you want to buy. You know, there is advice out there saying just buy yourself a basic machine, and that is not wrong advice. Like, definitely, you know, if you can do that and then still go out there and buy a couple of months later buy a more expensive machine, then that's perfectly fine as well. So tip number 2 is sewing what you want for you. It's so easy now. I know this for a fact. You tell somebody that you're learning to sew, oh, that's good to know. I'll send my trousers for altering, and like, that is brilliant. Don't get me wrong, it is good that you can do that for people, but then it sort of has a bit of an effect where you think, oh. And as soon as you feel, oh, you're gonna want to do it less and less. So my advice is make sure you're doing sewing for you. Still do the alterations for people, like if you want to. Like, I still do odd things for people, the people that, you know, I want to do things for, because I'm very much happy to help out. But if you don't want to, don't feel obliged to say yes. And just tell them, just say, I'm really sorry, I would love to, but at the minute I just don't feel confident doing things for other people. And you shouldn't have, you know, you shouldn't have to explain yourself anyway, really, I suppose. But I know how hard it is to say no to people. But obviously, if you want to do it, then absolutely. But yeah, just make sure you're making things that you want to make, and the things that you want to do. Tip number 3, bit of a funny one, because I would say don't run before you can walk, but also just kind of have a go, do it. So what I would kind of suggest is, if your ultimate goal is that you want to be able to make your own clothes, your own dresses, your own trousers, I wouldn't start there. One thing that I've always been very, very quite hard on people with, well, not hard on people, but if I had people walk into when I were doing in-person classes, and they walked in and said, I want to be able to make a ball gown. I mean, that's never happened. I've said, right, that's brilliant, and I'll help you get there, but let's start here first. And the reason that I always did that is because if I said, yeah, not a problem, chances are they're going to get stressed out and they're not going to enjoy it. That looks bad for me. And my ultimate goal is for you to walk out that door, you know, feeling so good about yourself, because that to me is the main thing. My main thing is that if you walk away with a smile on your face, I am happy. Obviously, I do things online now, so it's a similar kind of scenario. You've got to build yourself up. So my advice attached to that would be that if you want to make a ball gown, for example, why not start with a bag? Maybe do a bag first, or even if, I probably wouldn't even start there, to be honest. I always kind of start very, very basic, because then you kind of nourishing your skills a little bit more. I don't know whether that's the right kind of word, but I think you can kind of grasp what I mean there. But yeah, think of something that you want, something else that you might want to make. So for example, maybe you're wanting to spruce up your living room and you want new cushions. Perfect start, make some cushions. And then obviously, and then think, oh right, well I'm going to want a bag to go with my dress. Then make your bag. Build yourself up to that, and you'll be pleased that you did. Tip number 4 would be to use resources such as YouTube. So obviously, me and my videos, for example, and honestly, there's so many creators out there with advice. You know, I'm definitely not saying just watch me. There's loads of people out there you could watch. Honestly, use those resources. TikTok. I mean, I post a few little videos on how-to videos on TikTok, as I know other people do. So use those resources when you're first getting started, because it's a good way to kind of test the waters, find out, you know, your way of learning. Because I think as well, everybody has a different teaching style and a different way of, showing you how to do something, you can kind of, you know, go out there and see, you know, see what's on offer. Obviously, don't get me wrong, if you have a local sewing class that you can go to, then I would 100% recommend doing that as well, because, you know, these people are there. It's good for your local economy, and I would never say always free resources are fantastic, but if you can help a small business, then help them, because you might benefit more from an in-person class as opposed to looking online. But it's a good way to kind of find people as well. So you might be on YouTube and you might find somebody that's local to you, and then that can then in turn, you know, get you to sign up for a class. So yeah, that is tip number 4. Tip number 5 is making sure you're starting with simple patterns. So once you you know, build yourself up to being able to do some dressmaking, don't pick a pattern that's for an experienced sewer, for example. So I did a video a couple of weeks back, which was my top 5 sewing patterns for beginners. So I'll definitely check that out. If I can sort of link it up here, I will. If not, I'll put it in the description box. But yeah, just making sure that you're picking patterns that are quite easy to follow. In there I talk a lot about indie pattern designers, which are more small independent brands. They take so much time to write these patterns, you know, take really good photos or do really good illustrations for them. So definitely 100% recommend using more indie pattern designers than your big pattern designers, but not to say that they don't have basic patterns there as well. Tip number 6 is just to practice. Honestly, that is all you can do. A lot of people are just so hard on themselves. The more you do it, the more you practice, the better you're going to get. I don't kind of like using the same practice makes perfect, because I don't ever like to think that my sewing's always perfect. I make mistakes. I can only then improve on those mistakes. Don't get me wrong, I look at some things and I think, oh gosh, like I've sewn that perfectly. But not everything. So don't be hard on yourself. I have so many people that, like, I love the sewing bee, don't get me wrong, but the amount of people that say to me, I've made this, you know, I think it's okay. I don't think Patrick and Esme would be impressed. And I just think, you've made something. You've made something. Be absolutely proud of yourself, no matter what it looks like. You have got your machine out, you've threaded it up, and you've sewn something. Do not ever compare yourself to anybody else, because the fact that you've started to sew is, to me, an achievement in itself. So just, yeah, practice, don't be hard on yourself. Things can only get better. I felt like I was going to break out into song then. So yeah, that was tip number 6, I think it was, wasn't it? Tip number 7 is tracing your sewing patterns. So as opposed to cutting your size of the pattern out, get some sewing pattern paper and trace it, just because if you ever want to make a different size, then you've not wasted your pattern, basically. So that tip's kind of relevant to whatever level you're at really in sewing, but I think beginners wouldn't think to do that, or at least I know I probably, when I first started using sewing patterns, I never used to trace them. So yeah, I would say that's probably relevant to a lot of people. Trace your sewing patterns, you'll be very glad you did. And my final tip, tip number 8, is use sewing books. There's so many sewing books out there at the moment with patterns in them, and that's quite a, you know, a good way and a cheaper way of getting sewing patterns, because that way, you know, you might have a book that's cost you £10. There might be 10 sewing patterns in there. That's £1 a pattern. Whereas a sewing pattern these days is more than £10. So use it, and I kind of find as well that your instructions tend to be a little bit more in depth. There's like more of a glossary section with about what words mean. Not that these aren't on patterns themselves, but I feel like things are a lot more in depth than there would be in a pattern. I have another video as well. I did my top, I believe I did, it was top 5 sewing books. They're not all sewing pattern books, but some of them are. If you can watch that as well, that's a really good video to see, you know, what books I recommend as well. So that's all the tips I've got. If I've squinted a little bit in this video as well, I've obviously got like studio lights in here, and I've closed the window as well, and obviously at the minute we've just had a heat wave in the UK, so it was 38 degrees Celsius yesterday. In fact, I think it was 39 at one point. And it was absolutely stifling hot. It's still hot today. It's not that hot though. I think it's about 20-25 degrees today. But I've shut the window obviously because of noise, and I can tell, and these lights are really hot. So on that note, I'm gonna go. But I hope these tips, you know, are useful for you. I get a bit passionate about things like this because, yeah, I just think it's like the base and the core of learning to sew. If you've got any advice for anybody that's learning to sew, again, pop them in the comments, share them, and yeah, other people can read them, or I might be able to share them in another video. But that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye guys.